to chair Scott Overcash.
So lucky for me. Okay, well, anyway, we'll go ahead and get started. Everybody's ready. I think we're recording now, so I guess we'll start off with a level one, just making sure everybody's in a good, safe location to take this call. And for those of us here, make sure there's no tripping hazards, anything else that's taking place. We'll get an active shooter. Run, hide, and fight, whatever you want to do.
I'm the tripping hazard.
I will say, I will give a safety share out. Road rage seems to be a big thing going on nowadays. It seems like everybody's toting a gun and everybody's twice as bad when they're behind the wheel of a car. I actually had an incident this morning on the way to work. I still don't know what this guy was mad at because he comes flying from 4 lanes over and almost hit me. But he flipped me off and took off and went on down the road. But, sometimes we just need to sit back and relax and just realize, unless I see a gun pulled out, there's no need to do anything else at that point. Just let him be. Hopefully nobody gets hurt in these situations, but we do see quite a bit. I think I had one up on 85 in Greensboro several months ago when the cars were colliding together. They had so much of a road rage. So they actually had that on video. And both people ended up getting arrested in that situation. So apparently both of them were doing something wrong. So always be careful when you're driving. Be courteous of other drivers. That being said, we'll go ahead and start and talk about the projects that are going on here in the Randolph County area. I'll go ahead and start off to begin with. We do have McKnight Street is up and kind of running on getting that new station tied in. Hopefully, eventually, Pine View will start here shortly after. There's a lot of stuff going on that side of it. Major projects is involved, so it becomes a different ball game for all of us. As of right now, that's the only thing that we actually do have in progress down here at that point in time. But I know there's a few others that are getting ready to get up and running pretty hard, and we're going to be crunching the deadlines on all these.
Yeah.
So. Kenneth is working on those as hard as he can. I think Eric may be assisting in those as well, but Kenneth is pretty much the project owner of all that stuff. So far as new construction, there's not a whole lot going on our end in Randolph County that I'm seeing. We rarely get anything. We get some like residential houses converting to natural gas. So there's some one-off services going in from here and there, but other than government reload, you're the only ones that are keeping us right down here. So that is all I have on my end as far as the Randolph County side goes. Do you want to share anything that you got?
Pretty much same as you got.
I was gonna say it's all the same thing.
I know 64 started last week, the gas line.
Okay, yeah, that's right, it did. There's so many projects out there. I talked about
There's a lot.
So yeah, 64, that's the one that's been in the works for quite a while. I know the engineering and all that stuff's been involved, so hopefully it'll get done pretty quickly. I was gonna say, the SEC, once they get their feet in the ground, and if there's no rain, they'll roll on forever, but we're hoping that's not gonna become a situation. They said that we hadn't had a snow yet, so we're due one, right?
What they say.
That's what I keep hearing on the Fox 8 news, right? I'm just having to go with what they're telling me, so.
I got about 20 days and I'm going to be sitting on a boat somewhere out in the Bahamas, drinking a cold drink. So if it's going to do it then. Do it then.
Well, it might be your lucky day. I know I had to go to Florida one time for a meeting, and I was down there the entire week. And when I left from here, it was like 60 degrees. I went down to Florida. Of course, it was 75, 80 degrees down there. Nice weather the whole week. I left on a Friday night to come home. They let me go at like 5:30. So I left on Friday night to come home. And I get on the back country roads coming through Fayetteville and all that stuff like that. And it starts snowing. By the time I got on the longest, curviest road in 2 lanes, the road was covered with snow. And I'm like, it made my drive take about 2.5 hours longer. Driving all this time, I ain't driving anymore. So, all right. Well, anything going on the electric?
We're hitting about the same thing on Pine View. Yes, I got doing a 33 rotating underground. Or I hope that I've done. That's a muddy mess.
Y'all should be just about done.
I think the poles set and they're moving yet. I went up there and saw them every other week. So I don't know what, well, 64, when that project wants to get started for the construction, I guess you gotta get everything moved, don't you?
It was supposed to start for left, and I think Jimmy, it's been pushed back a few months now.
That's gonna be a mess.
Yes.
And I can't avoid that area.
You need to get your helicopter just flying past it.
Well, they're gonna take that bridge down. So they're gonna build it back.
Yes, it's gonna be on the placing side of the bridge, the middle, be hired for.
Yeah, I do got to, I actually have quite hours with it. That's yeah, it's gonna be a mess.
You're doing a good job of rotating. the
Thank you,
computer.
thank you. Hey,
Who needs parents
There-
with these little fancy devices?
there's more than one way to do this.
Anyway, that's about all, I got, that's about all we got going on, I guess.
What is the let date on the Pine View? Last week.
No, August, I think.
Okay, so that's still doable.
It's August.
Cause I think we're gonna do some box sections up there, I think is what they're
Yeah.
coming out to do. Okay. Well, fingers crossed.
That's all you can do,
That's,
right?
that's all. Yeah, once it gets out of our hands, it's out of our hands, but hopefully everything comes out good. So anyway, yeah, I feel good about it.
Awesome sauce. Jim or Joel, do you have anything you want to share?
Yes, I have just a damage report on natural gas damages in Randolph County for January. There were 2 damages. One was from a locate issue and the other one was the person did not call. So those are the only 2 that I was able to find on gas damages.
It's good to hear.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Welcome.
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna add, was, of course, we've got Sam doing the watch and protect. I'm sorry, Sam doing the untonables and TRC doing the watch and protect up there. So, they're getting a lot of good contacts with contractors, actually reaching out to them, asking questions. So that program seems to be working pretty well.
Tell them they got some government reload projects getting ready to take off wide open. We sure appreciate them being out there.
Sounds good. Let them know. Yeah.
Hey, appreciate that.
Thank you, gentlemen. Anything else? That's all the excitement.
I'm happy with it.
You're happy, I'm happy. You want me to roll through this one?
Absolutely.
All right, since we are here, I'm going to, obviously you already know it's February. And for those of you that have sweethearts, it may be a manufactured holiday, but don't forget the manufacturer and go home, get a card, hit the CVS on the way home, whatever it requires. My husband called me on the way here and he said, I need to ask you a question. I'm trying not to ruin the surprise. I said, okay. He said, do I need to refrigerate fruit or chocolate? I was like, well, it depends. If the fruit's been cut up, then it probably needs to go in the fridge. Well, I'm trying not to ruin it. So basically, he was very sweet and got me chocolate covered strawberries. And I said, go ahead and put them in the fridge. Go ahead and put them in the
better to
fridge.
Go ahead and just let it down. It's nothing like coming home to wilted chocolate strawberries, right?
He was too sweet. Yeah, so hit the CVS or the Walmart or the grocery store on the way home and get you some good points and just remember who told you that. So yeah.
I'll give you credit.
Yeah, give me some credit. I've slipped him a card on his desk, one from me and one from the dog. So he had both of them. A message from Louis Panzer, our executive director, and you see my notes up there. Louis is doing surveys right now with companies who were deemed to have no call damages. So right now, Duke and P&G are providing that information to us. And he sent out roughly about 600 emails with a link to those surveys to determine the why. Why didn't someone call? There's going to be a paper published with those results later, but you know, the last couple years we've hit really hard the updates, manage those updates, make sure if you've got updates that it's work that's actually ongoing. So we're still going to work on updates, but we're also going to be hitting those damage. Why? Why didn't you call? Did you think that there was no utility around there? Did you feel like it was going to be deeper? Were you pressured by a manager, you know, just said, just do it? So a why. January's been good for us operationally. We have about 48 total customer service reps, 3 of those being bilingual, 4 new hires. And gentlemen, it should give you a little bit of the idea of the volume to say 48 customer service reps, but a roughly 78% of ticket entry is done via remote ticket entry or single address ticket. The fact that we still need 48 customer service reps to help handle that volume. Of course, some of that volume is going to come in with spring. You know, we always talk about the spring rush, spring digging season, and really it's digging season all year round at this point. It's not been that cold. Snow notwithstanding, it's not been that cold that, you know, really we haven't been able to dig. In 2013, and I hit this a little early, 2013 for the year, I know you've already heard this, there were 1.2 million locate requests. Last year, 2.5 million. In 9 years, that work has more than doubled. Again, 48 customer service reps, but 78% of that volume comes. Now, there's a lot of folks doing remote ticket entry, they're auditing and stuff, but that's a lot of locate requests. Excavation Safety Conference is in Tampa right now, February 13th through the 16th. I know Ann's there. I think Lewis is there. Parrish is not in Tampa, Florida. Thank you very much. He is in Raleigh today. He would probably either rather be here or Tampa, Florida. Reminders, operator ID is required on the marks, you know, at the beginning of the locate, at the end of that locate, and every 200 linear feet along that locate, it is required that operator identity is to go on those marks. For example, the town of Tammany, TOT, T-O-T. Yes, I thought of that one by myself. At the town of Tammany, I am required to put my my operator identity at the beginning of that locate to let you know that's my water line. I'm required every 200 linear feet and at the end to let you know, yes, that was my line. It's also required to check positive response for those that are doing any kind of excavation. You are required to check positive response, but as utility owners, you're also required to enter positive response to let that excavator know, yeah, there's something out here, or no, there's not something, or there's something, but we darn well better be on site while you do any excavation. And obviously, if there's any evidence of a utility, to request that 3-hour notice. It doesn't feel like it, but spring is still 2 months away. But it's coming. So try to stay warm as much as you can, or at this point right now, try to stay cool as much as you can. Obviously, your attendance matters at your UCC, utility reps, government agencies, contractors, and we kind of have all 3 of those entities here in this room, because not only are you a utility rep or a government agency, you also dig from time to time, depending on what you're doing. So I really do appreciate and you gentlemen online being here as well. Just throw it out to your subs, your contractors, anybody that needs to know that they need to be here, you know, that we want them here. Banners, new banners are out. Parrish will have those either at your next UCC meeting, or he may even have some in his vehicle. They will only, and I know I'm being recorded, it says they'll only be available visiting a UCC, but by golly, if I happen to see you out in the field somewhere and you want one, I'm gonna hand you one. Constant Contact's going out, letting everybody know they'll be available in March at their local UCC. And this is the same artwork that we used last year. Typically we use the artwork 2 years in a row, and then we'll switch it up to something else. But this artwork is the second year that we're using it right now. Okay, requests and transmissions. I find it hard for me to say this, and I just said 48 customer service reps. The volume increased in January 20.16%. So we started off the year at a 20% increase over 2022. 208,988 locate requests. In 2021, there were 163,000. So you see those going up and up and up. 66,746 of those locate requests, that 20% increase was updates. That was 32% of the volume. Transmissions up as well, 16.1%. Transmissions, 1,128,535. And I always like to just throw out there as a reminder the difference between the locate request and the transmission. The locate request is what's being called in. The town of Tammy's putting in a new water line. The transmission is how many utilities are notified about every single locate request. Right now, on average, for every single ticket, there are 5.4 utilities notified. That's the difference between those two numbers. For Randolph County, that middle column, new tickets, 107.5% increase. 2009 locate requests, new locate requests. Last year for the month of January, there were 968. Total tickets for the month of January were up 133.5%. That far right column, 3,101 locate requests. On those total tickets, retransmits and updates are included in those total tickets. So if you look at that update column, that second to last column, 238.5% of that is updates, which says to me, boy, do y'all have some projects ongoing here, and you know better than I do what they are. What's happening in Randolph County? Is it road construction? Is it gas? Is it electrical? Is it water, sewer, fiber? All of the above?
I would say it's a little bit of everything here.
Yeah, updated. And, maybe a little bit of crummy weather had a factor in that, but 3 hours were up as well. That second column, 3 hours were up 220, let's say 224%. That is a huge increase for the month. Now, believe it or not, since it's the first this covers the first month of the year, there's no year to date because the month and the year to date are the same. For Randolph County, the big chunk of that was in Asheboro. 1,098 of those 3,100 locate requests were in Asheboro. Randleman, 459. Trinity, Ramsey, Thomasville, Franklinville, Liberty. But really the big guy was Asheboro and then Randleman. Damage events reported for Randolph County, 10. We already know P&G's reported 2 of those, 10 damages reported for the month of January. And I will say of those damage events reported, I think 32 counties reported no damages for the month of January. Maybe I'm not going to put a paycheck on it just because I'm a gambler, but I'm not that much of a gambler. Holidays may have helped cut down on some of those damages, but again, a lot of times people are just not reporting those damages like they should. It is a requirement of the law to report that damage to the utility and to 811. But for the love of Pete, y'all remind your excavators and your contractors, if there is a release of product, that first call goes to 911. I've had to gently remind some folks of that because they'll call to, to tell our customer service reps, they'll call to report a damage, and this customer service reps will say, okay, do you have the 911? Oh, no, we called y'all first. That's good. That's, you're following the law, but let's take care of personal safety first. Call and get, emergency services out there. The next underground damage prevention review board meeting is Tuesday, April the 18th. That'll be at 10 o'clock at the event center in Greensboro. If that's something you would like to attend, I believe they've opened that back up to a gallery. I do know that in January, Ann let us know, obviously she can't give us specifics because she's been appointed to that board, but she did let us know that a bunch of cases had been dismissed for insufficient evidence. So if you were going to go to the trouble to submit, bless you, I wanted to do that a second ago. If you were going to go to the trouble to submit a complaint to the board, to make sure that you're giving them all the information that you can give them, photographs, locate request numbers, text messages, emails, names, numbers, addresses, anything that you can submit to them so they can actually do a good investigation and then follow through with that complaint if necessary. Just make sure you're providing them. It may seem like overkill, but the more information, the better. The next state UCC is Tuesday, March the 21st. You'll notice that is the third Tuesday in March. There was a conflict with the second Tuesday, and right off the top of my head, I can't remember it, but the third Tuesday of the month, 10 o'clock, that will be at Dominion Energy in Raleigh. 4211 Global Street in Raleigh. Dominion will provide lunch afterwards, so if you plan to attend, please make sure you RSVP. The next LRPC meeting, Locate Resolution Partnership Committee meeting, is Wednesday, March 22nd. That's at 11 o'clock. That will also be at the Event Center in Greensboro. There is going to be a hybrid link for anyone who wants to attend. And as always, that LRPC formed in 2016 after the influx of fiber work. When we were seeing thousands of locates behind, the utilities came together and really started doing some work on internal housekeeping and managing expectations with their folks. Hey, this work's done. There's no reason to update it. Upcoming dates, actually that first one's already passed. Howard went out to the Eastern North Carolina Landscape Conference and Trade Show, spent the day out there. At the end of January, I went to the Septic Installers Conference in Hickory. What a great bunch of folks. They were very happy to see us, asked me, are we speaking this year? Because we've spoken before, really appreciative of us being there. Barnhill Contracting Construction Rodeo, Friday the 24th of this month in Fayetteville. If that's something you're interested in attending, Howard will be out there setting up and talking to folks there. All right, y'all, if Jim, if you and Joel can hear me online, it's just a little bit of background music here. Just a reminder, the 40th annual joint North Carolina, South Carolina UCC conference, May the 3rd through the 5th at Harris Cherokee. Everything will be held in the new Cherokee Tower. There's room for 100 vendors, folks from North Carolina, from South Carolina, utility operators, locating. obviously all the vendors, North Carolina 811, South Carolina 811. What a fantastic spot to get together. One of the issues they're going to be discussing this year is mental health. And I know that's been a biggie over the last couple of years. The construction industry has one of the highest rates of suicide, alcoholism, drug addiction. There's a lot of pressure, and right now there's a tremendous amount of pressure in construction. And sometimes folks don't have healthy ways of dealing with that. So that's one of the topics that's going to be discussed. Hopefully, one of the other topics to be discussed is some cybersecurity and security around your utilities. I know they've reached out to Homeland Security to come out and hopefully do a presentation as well, particularly after damage to Moore County and Randolph County facilities. I know Scott's going to have to leave, and I believe, Joel, you said you were going to need to leave as well. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. The calendar of events will be found at the North Carolina 811 calendar, and NCUCC event calendars can be found on North Carolina 811 or the North Carolina 811 app. And here's the point where I always ask somebody in the audience, how much does that app cost? And I always get hollered back to me, free. It is a free app. DigLogix is being introduced from Northfield Development Partners. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Northfield is a full service ticket submission and management system for excavators. Ticket creation and tracking doesn't need to slow down the project of work. If you are an excavator or utility locator who wants to locate utilities with swiftness, so you can get your project started. If your current ticket submission and management submission is slowing down your project, you can reach out to Northfield Development Partners for pricing. It will create and track tickets automatically, verify clients, and receive instant notification of positive response. So go out to northfielddp.com/dig/logix. They'll give you a great introduction into that program. You've seen this bunch before. You usually see Parrish's handsome face. I imagine he'll be here next month. As always, appreciate your time and attention. A copy of this presentation will be available at ncucc.org along with the PDF copy of the presentation. This video will serve as our minutes and roster. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Speak now, forever hold your peace. You're not going to hurt my feeling. I think I've told these gentlemen often enough that I know Trent hears it pretty regular. I've got 2 daughters, and my feeling does not